The next storyteller. Let's create a space of love for Andrea Roske-Metcalfe. Where are you, Andrea? Coming on up. Let's hear it for Andrea. Come on.
When the first plane flew into the World Trade Center at 10:32 p.m., I was doing homework in my dorm room at the University of the Philippines in Manila. My roommate came in to tell me what had happened, and by the time we got down to the TV room, it was packed. We watched live while the second plane hit, and one tower fell, and then the other. We stayed in that room all night long. Going to class the next day felt like walking through a fog. No one knew what to say to me, so mostly they just ignored me. But not Rania. God, she was funny. She had the kind of laugh that would vibrate in your belly. Rania was a devout Muslim. I was a feminist Christian theology major, and that worked for us. I don't remember what she said to me that day, but I remember that it was the right thing. My parents called to ask if I wanted to come home early. I said no. I wasn't scared to stay, but I felt anxious about going home. See, I kept watching the news. I saw the American flags plastered everywhere. From the outside, it really did feel like if you weren't for us, then you were against us. So I felt anxious about going home. But eventually, I didn't have a choice. The night before I left, my friends threw me a party. "I got you a present," Rania said. I took the bag and I pulled out a statue of a wooden man wearing a barrel. "I don't get it," I said. "It's a barrel man," she said. "You've lived in the Philippines for 6 months and you've never seen a barrel man?" I shrugged. "Pull the barrel off," she said. By now, everyone had gathered around. They knew that this was going to get good. I pulled the barrel off, and the wooden man's arms sprung up at 90-degree angles. And his wooden penis, which was at least as long as his arms and twice as thick, sprung up too. We laughed until we cried. "I didn't know what to get you," Rania said, "but I figured you might need to laugh." The next morning at the airport, I was running late, and my suitcase was just a little bit too heavy. My carry-on was already stuffed. "Just hold some things in your hand," the ticket agent said. "They don't count whatever you just have in your hands." And the first things I could get to were a pair of pajamas and the barrel man, and that was enough. I had a layover in LA before my flight home to Minneapolis. The airport was plastered in American flags. They made me feel anxious. I sat at my gate and I made small talk with a man who eventually told me that he worked at the airport. "Doing what?" I asked. And just then they announced the start of our boarding process. My new friend stood up and pulled a badge out of his pocket. His job was to randomly select passengers and search their carry-on luggage for rogue nail clippers and crochet hooks. When my boarding number was called, I avoided eye contact with that man like it was my job. "Excuse me, ma'am." He was talking to me. He emptied my carry-on piece by piece, and when he was finally satisfied, he nodded to my hands and he said, "What's that?" "Oh, nothing," I said. "Just a pair of pajamas and a statue." "I need to see that statue," he said. So I unwrapped the pajamas and I presented the security guard with a wooden man wearing a barrel. "Does it come apart?" he said. "Yeah," I said. "Take it apart," he told me. So I pulled the barrel off, and that wooden man's arms sprung up, and his giant wooden penis sprung up. And the poor security guard said, "Thank you very much, ma'am, that will be all." And then he left very, very quickly. And I started to laugh. And the people around me started to laugh, and we laughed until we cried. And then someone helped me with the zipper on my carry-on. And we boarded that flight home together.
Andrea.